soul of every created thing goes through the same process. Every soul has an intellect, every soul has a life, every soul has a feeling. It's just that the more or less the size and the condition and position which leads to the creation of that entity in that physical dimension. So if if you listen to some of the teachings we always explained, you don't know the difference between soul of the man or a child or an animal. It's an entity on its own. It's like when we look into the stars, they're all shining. We don't see any difference, but depending on their size, they shine in different strength. And that shining, which shows where the strength they have and how they interact within the environment they are in. So there's no difference in reality in the whole structure of the creation of the soul. It's very fine. This position is important, and in a way, as I said, planets like Earth are the nurseries for creation of life in the universe. When the soul is free, according to the strength he has, what he can give, what he can take, it finds its position in the universe. And it finds its point of reference in the universe. As I've said before, when you put the magnets near each other, depending on the strength of the magnet, they find their position. And so is the soul of the man. How far, to what distance, to where, and on the other hand, if you look at it, do the planet like Earth, which are the cradle of life and create the souls, do they themselves become, in the long run, long term, due to the energies they create, they start their own cluster or their own galaxy? In a way, the seeds of, or the strength of the totality, as it comes from the amino acid of this planet, do they create a common denominator strength that allows them to create a galaxy which has that common denominator of the strength of the, what we call, the soul of this planet? And in that process, all hundreds of billions of stars or planets or whatever created in that galaxy is all have a common denominator energy which has come from the strength of the amino acid of this planet. Some of the galaxies in the universe are created that way. They have a common denominator strength. That's why they can gather and collectively then they expand to create the dimension, the fields and rotation of the creation of the galaxies, a series of stars. And then it comes to how we have all the stars as a twin stars, as a balancing field. As a process of delivery of the totality of life And then would these common denominators in the future become part of the life, giving life to the planet? It is interesting in how we understand this language, how we can comprehend, and how we can expand on the knowledge.
Another question, Mr. Keshe. Why did you call, when we look at our topoli, you say they are our children?
What do you mean?
You refer to animals, when they're a cat or a mouse or a rabbit, and we really look after them like they're our own children. But sometimes you refer to the other children.
The
Is it
thing
become?
is, the child does not necessarily means what you have a given physical share of your physicality to, like our physical children. What you share love with and you look after to grow is a child. The plant in its infancy is a child, is your responsibility. A dog is the same, a cat is the same. Because we share our souls, and how much we share our souls with them, they become they become like us. They understand us through our souls, through our feeling, through our emotion. And what is important, um, we share, they feel us. We don't speak their language, but I'm trying to find a word for it. Um, if we look the way we share verbally our emotion, then we feel each other. The animals feel us the same way, so they become our children because we bring them in from infancy. So we build an emotional link, we build a physical link with them. We we take them in our heart. They feel our emotion of our heart. It's like our children. They come, they look for attention, they come for food, they come for their needs. The difference between animals we adopt as our children, majority or not majority, all of them more or less, stay partners with our soul for the rest of their lives as long as they live. In many aspects, they become closer to us because we have to meet all their needs. Where our own children, after a while, they grow up and they go away. They call for their emotional needs, or they come to us when they need that reunification of the physicality or the soul, ask for a cuddle or call mom, how are you? And they don't need to depend on us. But the animals do. Not only look for emotional life, they look for their physical lives through us. So they are our children. We we go and foster children, we adopt children, and we 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 give so much to them. We they give back to us, to what they want to, or what they have in their inner sanctums to show with us. If we have a dog and we don't feed it, what do? And you're in the house, it doesn't go anywhere. It starts rummaging the house and it's doing everything else. And if, for example, in many cases, if the owners of the animals die in the house, the animals, if they're not found, they die with them out of hunger. So our children are not that way. They walk away, they can find life. The animals can't. So they're more than our children. In a way, when we take an animal, it's like taking another part of our own, another arm, another leg, another heart. Without them, we cannot exist. And so they are our children. And depending on how in generations they've been adopted and how they've been trained, how they've been brought up over generations or centuries, as we've seen them or tamed them, or we still capture them and keep them, they show that kind of behavior toward us. Some animals are cuddly, some animals are there but they want nothing to do. It's the same as if you have a dog cannot be left and so on, but you open a hatch for the cat because the cat goes and does what he likes and he comes home. Home is somewhere when he just wants attention and living. Children are not necessarily what we create basically out of interaction of our emotions and feelings, but children of God across this universe are the same. Doesn't matter what you call it. But the strength they have, the joys they bring you, what they feel about you and with you. And many of them, especially like dogs, sit with you if you're injured. Many times they found that people with a dog next to them, they're there because that's an emotional bond. So the animals are are us. It's a reflection of us. Their behavior is very much our behavior in the long run, because they respond to our behavior and we respond to theirs. And sometimes they bring the same fears and the same joys and the same kind of emotion. So animals, no matter what, an ant or a lion, you bring it home and you look after, or is part of you. It's a member of the, it's another organ in the life of the man. It's our children. We are parents by soul, not parents by physicality, but with our children we are parents by physicality and the soul. And the soul bond is much stronger.